Hello, this is Dr. Wyatt with Technical and Business Writing. I want to go over the process once more of navigating the course, and I want to introduce you to Unit 2. This is actually the big part of the video. We are starting our second unit, which is the first one with a project. Unit 1 introduces the fundamentals of technical and business writing. Unit 2 has a project. So let's take a look at Unit 2, and as we do, let's review how to navigate my course shells. So if you always go to Content, the Content menu will take you to the outline of the course. Now, some of my courses do differ. If it's an online course, I usually put the date. If it's an in-person class, I do not. So as you can see, there are some week 1, week 2, week 3, etc. So we are starting the unit Business Correspondence. I don't put that in the week. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It sort of depends on the class and the design. But again, if you just go straight through the content, you'll find everything. So we know we just did our word processing skills for Unit 1. So we are now on Business Correspondence. The correspondence unit is really, really important. Everything we do in business is corresponding with someone. We send messages. To correspond is to send a message. So in this unit, we're going to talk about sending emails, letters, memos, and composing social media, because a lot of our communication with potential clients today is on social media. So that's what we're going to do. Once again, always start at the unit overview. So if we take a look at the Unit 2 overview, it tells us that we're going to begin the business correspondence unit. It includes memos, letters, and emails. We start with correspondence because our next unit features cover letters for career materials. So you can see how each unit is going to build on the previous unit. You're going to learn to write letters, and then in Unit 3, you're going to prepare a career packet, and one of the letters you prepare is a cover letter that goes with your resume. So there is a logical progression in technical and business writing. So our objectives, we're going to learn to apply appropriate formatting for memos, letters, emails, and social media. We're going to demonstrate mastery of writing skills appropriate to correspondence. When you write a letter, you don't want it to sound like you're talking to your friend outside of school. You want it to be a little more formal, more professional. You want to use proper language. So there's a lot we want to talk about in terms of the appropriate language for writing. We're going to design readable and effective documents. Document design is a big thing to me. We want our things to be readable. So whether it's instructions or a letter or a proposal, it needs to be legible and readable. Those are different. Legible means that it's easy to see the letters, the words. So legibility might be a large font in sans serif online, or a reasonable book size font with a serif like Times New Roman for a book. But you need to choose the appropriate design. So design is very important to me. And then we're going to apply the conventions. So we want to do clear, concise, compelling writing. That's my big thing, is you want to be clear, concise, and compelling. The additional ones, you want to be correct always, and you want to be complete. You always want to give all of the information that a reader might want. So those are the original 5 C's. So we're going to review the Unit 1 materials. That's because word skills are very handy when you're writing letters. We're going to preview the rubric for the correspondence set if you go through this module in order. And then we're going to read the book chapters. Ideally, you read chapter 15, the correspondence chapter, very closely. It has the examples. So chapter 15 has examples, plus examples of these different forms of correspondence are linked to throughout the unit. It never fails. Someone says, I can't find any examples online. I was using Google or Bing or another tool to search. You don't need to. The examples are in the chapters for this unit. Again, always read the chapters, always watch the videos, always read the handouts. If you don't, and you come back and say, well, Dr. Wyatt, I can't find everything, that tells me you're not reading instructions. And the irony is, this is a class about writing instructions and conveying information. So please, please, please navigate properly. We are going to discuss the correspondence set. You're going to do some peer review, and then you're going to create the final versions and submit those. So there is the Unit 2 intro. I'm going to click here. Now, notice it says week 4 for this class. That may differ, but it starts with 2.1. Remember, every 0.1, so 3.1, 4.1, 5.1, are the overviews of the assignment. So this tells us that there's going to be a correspondence set assignment. You're going to identify a Temple College service or program that you want to tell the world about. So you're going to choose something like our libraries, for example, and then you would write a letter, an email, and a social media post promoting the library. You would also prepare a memo to me explaining which service you chose, why, and how you went about composing your materials. So that's what these are. You notice that I do have another Unit 2 introduction right here. Want to make sure that you go through all of that as well. Again, notice that there will be the slides and then the assignment sheet, the rubric. The rubric is very important. Always check the assignment sheet and the rubric. That's true for every single unit. Always check the assignment and the rubric. Use those as a checklist as you go through Unit 2. There's the chapter. Again, if you don't read the chapter, you will be missing information. I want to show how this works. When I'm going to go to chapter 15, sometimes the links do take us straight into the chapter and sometimes they don't. That's an issue with the online OER, the Open Education Resource. I apologize, but we're going to go to the introduction. Very important when you read the textbook. Always, as you read, click Next at the bottom. Now we see email. Notice it has the tips for effective business emails. And if you scroll, it shows you an example. The examples in the chapter are how I would like you to format the document set that you submit at the end of the unit. I'm going to go ahead and click Letters. And now we see the letter, and it's explained where things go. You may also use a letterhead. I apologize. You may also use a letterhead here for this. And if you want to, you can download a PDF to copy. So there's the letter, and it says you need a heading, introduction, body, conclusion, signature line. So it does have things you need. Notice the sample letter does not have 3 paragraphs, but a typical rule is 3 paragraphs. This is just to show you the layout. Then we have the memorandum. Again, read the chapter, and the chapter will have a sample layout. And you can see the sample layout of a memo. Please, please, please read through every chapter included in a unit. The chapters have the examples, and those examples will help you. After I read the chapters, there are videos. Oh, forgive me. So if I go to Correspondence unit and scroll down, you will see that there is typically an OER video. That OER video includes a summary and slideshow for the book chapter. Please go through those. I often include tip sheets. The tip sheets, such as this one, the correspondence tips, will help you. Another checklist. It's another way of going through and saying, did I do what Dr. Wyatt expects? So those checklists, they're not technically the rubric, but they're, if you want to go above and beyond the minimum, those tip sheets are great. Correspondence sample. Now this is what you should click, right? It says it's a sample. Let's go there. There are samples in every unit. And right here you can see there is a wonderful sample. I did not prepare these alone. I worked with colleagues at previous institutions. So this is a collaboration with people I've worked with over the years. So we created a memorandum, and you can see that it has some template information that you would change. So you would change where it says regarding, you'd put a 1 to 3 word topic. Where it says recipient, you would put the recipient's name. Page 2, you put the date of the memo, the originating date. Here is a template for a formal letter. And you can see it talks about how you lay it out. If you want to do block format or traditional indent format. There's an email example with all of the fields that you would want for an email. And then finally, it talks about a social media post. Please include an image, include 3 to 6 hashtags. All of this information is right in the unit. So 2.1, 3.1, 4.1, etc. will always be these really complete introductions to everything. So if you follow through the 2.1, 3.1, etc., you will find all of the materials that you need for success in that unit. Right here, we see that there's a pre-writing. Most units will have a pre-writing. Now, obviously, I'm not a student, so it says that this is overdue. I haven't done it yet. But you can see that it has the discussion that we're going to have. What service are you choosing? What is the website for the service? To whom you're going to write your letter? To whom would you send an email? So all of these questions are here. This gets you started. So we always do some pre-writing to get us thinking about the assignment. Again, very organized if you go to the content menu and work your way down. So you'll notice the next module, 2.2, is on memos and emails, what we would call short correspondence. Then we have a review of the writing process. How do you check what you've written? And then finally, the formal letters for this week. So week 4 is going to have 4 modules. And because it's an online course, depending on whether you're 8-week or 16-week, you would either do 2 a day or you could do 1 a day to get you through 4 days of the week. It depends on the pacing of the course. Your 2311 may be different. So your business and technical writing may be at a different pace. So I just want to make sure everyone knows how to follow this. You'll notice there's a week 5, which is social media. Social media, extremely important. Notice that it'll always tell me when things are due. It tells me due next Friday is the final. This hasn't been expanded, but there we go. And it talks about social media. Please, please, please navigate every unit this way. I wish you all the best. I hope you find these little videos useful. Again, I want to be helpful. If there's anything that's not clear in the shell, email me. If there's anything that isn't clear in the materials, let me know and I'll update those materials. Everything in a good course evolves. So when you say you can't find something or something needs to improve, I will do my best to make adjustments to the course. Unit 2, again, it is the foundation because it's the first one with a project. Prove to yourself and to me that you can follow the modules in order, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. Do this for every unit. You will succeed in, and forgive me, I reversed it earlier, but it is technical and business writing, English 2311. Thank you so much for listening.